Good morning, Miles.
How are you?
Good, thank you. You've been at the center of Pickleball's explosion for a while now. How does it feel seeing something you've helped build show up in neighborhoods, schools, and even major events?
I mean, it's exciting, really exciting. I mean, not just from um, being a court builder, but also as a player. Yeah, so I was actually just playing this morning pickleball, and somebody asked me how long I've been doing it, and I said 20 years. I said I've been building pickleball courts before pickleball was cool. So to see it really exploding is, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's fun to be a part of it.
We've also seen a very different story in Europe, especially here in Sweden, where another racket sport, paddle, saw a massive boom and then equally dramatic bust the past 2 years. Does that influence, Miles, how you think about sustainable growth in pickleball?
Um, yeah, I really haven't connected the two. I think that, I mean, the beauty of our network, I'm a part of a network of court builders that are all across the country. Some of these, I've been doing it 20 years. Some of these guys have been doing it, 30, 40 years. All the data shows that there's not a slowdown. If anything, that it's going to continue on the pace that it's on. So yeah, I think there's still nothing in the near future because there's still definitely more players uh, than courts available.
That's amazing. Can't wait to explore it all. Let's dive in. The following is a conversation with Miles Reynolds, sport entrepreneur, community builder, and the founder of legendary Sports Construction. He's also the host of the podcast Pickleball Builders and serves on the board of Southern Nevada Pickleball, where he leads youth engagement initiatives. This is Pre-Zero Sports Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Sid Bensalah. Today, we'll explore how pickleball is transforming the landscape of sports, business, and local communities. To support our show, please check the episode description. Miles, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What sparked the decision to combine your love for sports with entrepreneurship?
Sports has always been a part of my life ever since I was a kid. I have three brothers. We're all 2 years apart in age, so it was kind of always fun because I always had a built-in two-on-two in everything growing up as a kid: basketball, two-on-two football, and it definitely is where I got my competitive spirit and my love of sports because that's really all I did was with my brothers or other kids in the neighborhood. So that was always a part of my childhood. And then as I got older, yeah, I started doing door to door sales, and I fell in love with just being around people and helping people, you know, get a product that would help serve them. And so for me, it was something that it was already on my radar that I loved, at least the sales aspect of everything, and then I love sports. So that's kind of how it kind of combined. My brother asked me to partner with him in Utah, and they already had another partner, and I said, I don't know a lot about business, but that seems like a lot of partners. So I sought out Vegas, and I was really young. I was 30 years old, and they told me, you're too young, and uh, it's not for you. And I continued to knock on the door of the owner of the company and said, I am your guy, and just let me have a shot at it. And so it was nothing but sheer love of sports and
Mhm.
just sheer like love of just engaging with people. And I feel like intention's everything. You can always figure out how to do something, but the love was already there. So then it was just a matter of, you know, going through the ebb and flows of figuring out how to now turn it into a business. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. And thankfully I was single and I didn't have, five kids at the time when I was trying to do it because I didn't, there wasn't a whole lot to support other than me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I a lot of bumps and bruises. It's true though, when you truly love something, that it's not an option to give up or to quit. It
Yeah.
was never an option. And I fall in love with it. I'm more in love with my business today than I was when I started 20 years ago. So,
Yeah. And was there a single project or moment when you realized this was your long-term path?
when it really clicked for me, we do residential and commercial.
Hmm.
I think being able to see, it's one thing to meet with somebody and they're excited about it and they say, I want to do this project. It's another thing to see it go full cycle. When I really, it wasn't a particular project. I think it was just an emotion or a feeling that I would have when I would meet with a family, or I'd meet with a dad and he would say, hey, this is for my kids. And then he'd kind of have a smile. And I'm like, his wife was like, no, this is your dream. The kids just get, your dream has always been to have a court in your backyard. Right. So I
Hmm.
think seeing like grown men, uh, you know, talking about how it's, when I ask them, hey, what got you thinking about doing a court, when they say, hey, this has been my dream since I was 5 years old. And then seeing the excitement of not just like the dad or the mom, then seeing like the kids, like excitement when it was done. I mean, it's like delivering, it's like Christmas morning every time we complete a project, right? And you see grown men become a child again, and kids. And so I think it started with that, like seeing the full process and seeing, because it's been said for years that when we create a project, whether it's in the backyard or in a community, like that's the hangout house. That's where all
Mm.
the kids want to be. And so it cemented in me like the joy that I was bringing to families, and also communities. And then when I would say when I became a customer of my own product, like when I built my own court, I mean, literally, like last weekend, 3 nights ago, I had 40 kids at my house.
Wow.
My daughter's 14 years old. She has no interest in sports. But let me tell you, when we throw a party, every kid at her high school wants to come to our house because we have the coolest court. And they're throwing football and they're knocking volleyball. And I have adults out there. My friends are over there. Even though it's a high school party, my friends come over there playing. My kids, Blakely's out there. She's 8 years old. She's hanging out. It's a high school party, but I have grown adults and kids from down to 5 years old. And the entire court is full of play and laughter and fun. And we're just all hanging out. And yeah, it's a bonus that we have a pool, but it's literally a magnet. And just knowing where my kids are.
Hmm.
My daughter
Hmm.
will say sometimes there's like back to back days where there's kids over at my house, and she'll always say, "Dad, you wanted the hangout house," and I say, "I know, and I'm glad I'm glad you guys are here." I'd like maybe one night to myself, but yeah, I think it's just seeing the joy. I mean, yeah, I mean that's money comes and goes, business is business, but it's
Right. Right.
I know that when I meet with a potential customer,
Yeah.
they can like you can tell when somebody loves something, and I absolutely love like I'm smiling from ear to ear when I'm talking to these people about what we do, because yeah, because when I come home, first thing my kids said, in fact, I got to tell you this really quick too. My daughter says, "Dad, I want to try out for the flag football team." And that's out of nowhere. She's been a cheerleader her whole life, but we were out there even just 2 nights ago, and I'm throwing the football to her. So yeah, it's definitely not just me being a court builder. It's literally my lifestyle. So
Fantastic. Love it. Love it. I feel the energy. Amazing. Amazing. What has been the most transformative lesson from building legendary sports construction?
I think I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is how much we as people are so much alike, more than we are different. We live in a world where we're so hyper focused on all the differences that we have, with each other. Or, some people some people, there's just so many things that I think people think differentiate us, whether it's political or race or, what are we, Gen Z? Are we this? What generation are we? Like, there's all these things that I think that we think that make us different. However, when it comes to just, yeah, I think that's the beauty of sports. When you
Mm.
just when you're playing on a court, nobody cares about your income, where you're from, what your political views are. Like it is just, it's connection at a whole nother level. So I think it's just, I think that's, yeah, the biggest lesson is just that we are, as humans, we all kind of have the same basic needs. We want to feel loved, we want to feel connection, and it's an awesome thing my team and I get to create that for communities and for, people in their own backyard.
And talking about the sport itself, what factors caused pickleball popularity to surge during the pandemic specifically?
Um, the biggest thing is we were kind of like the Home Depot of the backyard. I mean, when the world shut down, people weren't traveling, right? So whether you liked it or not, you were hanging out with your family, or and I think so. I think why it soared is people slowed down. I think a lot of people took a look at what really matters. They weren't traveling. They were doing a lot of renovations, not just to the inside of their home, but they were also doing a lot of renovations in their backyard because people were staying put. So I think that, taking that extra money and putting it in their own home, or yeah, I think we were literally like the Home Depot of the backyard. A lot of people were doing, upgrades to their home. And in particular here in Vegas, in Nevada, it did not hurt that our governor, when social distancing was happening, that our governor said, he named all the different things you could social distance with when things were kind of shut down. And he said pickleball. And I think 75% of the people in Nevada had no idea what pickleball was.
What
And
is he
so everyone's like,
talking
what is this?
about?
Yeah, they're like, what
Pickle-
is pickleball? And then in my mind, I'm like, you still get close to people in pickleball, but it was, yeah, I think it was that whole thing of, it's such a sport where, because it's a fourth the size of a tennis court. So if you
Mm.
picture a tennis court, 60 by 120, if you took a tennis court and cut it up in four pieces, that's four pickleball courts on one tennis court. So instead of having four people on a massive court, now you could have 16 people. You could have four
Yeah,
people on each court, on
yeah.
one court. So I think the fact that you're closer, most people are playing doubles. I think people were yearning for connection. So I think it exploded in a way that I've never seen. I mean, it was crazy for us.
Yeah, and it's simple, it's accessible. It's not as demanding and complicated as tennis, if we have to compare.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point that you bring up. The entry level is much easier compared to most sports like tennis. Yes, you don't just pick up a tennis racket and start playing. The entry level, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. Is doesn't take much to learn the rules, to play, and the universal age appeal. Right, my dad's
Hmm.
80. He's still.
Hmm.
I go to Utah and we go and we still play pickleball together. And then my daughter's 8 years old and she still wants to play pickleball. And then I'm on a group text of probably 25 grown men in my neighborhood, and we're texting each other asking like when we can play pickleball. So it's just, it doesn't, it's really all ages. And even when it comes to like all shapes and sizes of people, you don't have to be in amazing shape to be playing pickleball.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, yeah, it doesn't take as much of a physical toll, and not an expensive. It's not much of a, you could go to Walmart and buy a $15 paddle and you're playing. You don't need a
Mhm.
lot of equipment. So I think all of those things add up to, the size of the court is much smaller than tennis and other sports. That I think all of that combined into the perfect storm for pickleball.
Yeah, yeah. Is it merely a trend, or do you believe it has a long-term staying power?
I believe that it's a long-term staying power. I believe that I mean, it's still, when people call our office, it's still, that's what people are asking for. I mean, probably 80% of the calls we get are still pickleball first, and then it's like they'll mention other sports. So I think that it's here to stay because I think a big reason, yes, the whole space thing, what we talked about, right? Why
Mm.
pickleball grew in the first place. I also think it's because it also incorporates, so you have all ages, all skill levels, and I think that because the fact that it does incorporate so many sports, padel, racquetball, tennis, Like it literally takes all, ping pong. I grew up loving ping pong. It takes all those sports and I feel like it wraps it into one. And so I think that for that reason alone, and yeah, that it's here to stay, and it's a sense of community. Like I went and played this morning at a park called Durango, and when I go there, you're not just going to play pickleball, you're going to see your friends. Like it's a community. Like, like they celebrate birthday parties and funerals, and like it's a community. So
Yeah. We were talking earlier during our when we started the show about padel here in Europe and mainly in Sweden because we've seen a boom. I can give you an example, especially here in Sweden for the listeners. That boom basically from 560 courts in 2019 to over 4,200 by 2022. And
mm,
when we talk about the players, at that time there were around 600,000 amateurs, which is, if we compare in terms of court density, which is one court by per 2,500 inhabitant. But some facilities reported of peak occupancy now for whatever reason, because people maybe they got tired of the sport or whatever, as low as 7 to 8%. Just between the past 2 years, 2023 and 2024, which is last year, plus a loss of revenue because there was so much investment. I mean, given this kind of oversupply and speculative investment, I must say, what are the warning signs you look, Miles, for when scaling facilities or building infrastructures that you advise investors or cities to watch?
uh, I th- hmm. I think the biggest thing that we look at, even for my business, because I've been in it for 20 years, is
Mm,
we're highly connected with the building market, right? I mean,
yeah.
our main customer and where the real traction is for us is in new construction, right? So as the building market slow, or people are moving and change, into a new home and changing the
Hmm.
landscaping in a backyard. On the residential side, I would say it is the building market, right? When that slows down, sports construction is right behind it. So I think that would be the first thing I would look at first and foremost is what is the, are new people moving in. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, it's also just seeing the play. I mean, I've seen it happen with tennis. Tennis was really big. When I first started in sports construction, it's a lot of these tennis courts are ghost towns now, and
Mm.
I think, yeah, I mean, you just on a real basic level, you just have to. You're looking at how many people are on the courts on any given time, because yeah, I've seen it for a long time before that tennis was, you've got to be, and there's so many, but I also compare tennis to padel somewhat because
Yeah.
we built some padel courts.
Hmm.
The challenge with padel, at least here in the US, is a very big price tag. I mean, almost comparable to tennis because you have the glass, the walls and the,
Yeah.
so
The
I look
fence
at,
and
yeah, you have the fence and the walls and I mean, it's not a small project. So I think that definitely comes into play too. Is tennis takes up a lot of space. You really need to have a coach. You don't just start playing tennis. You need to have some real high level coaching and everything else. So you either think you're going pro or you have more money than you know what to do with or spend, is when
Mhm.
I see people buying tennis courts. And then in my 20 years of doing courts, I can count on one hand how many padel courts we've done. So there is a barrier with the cost of these courts too. So I think just for the fact that that's why pickleball, you really don't need much other than, for some of these spaces, it doesn't
Mhm.
take a lot. Basketball, I mean, basketball is always going to be around, on communities, but there's really not, I don't see a real competing sport with pickleball, even padel. It's like, I think all those factors come into play, and builders love pickleball because again, it's a fourth the size of a tennis court,
Yeah, it's
and you can have
yeah.
we have communities where they'll build one or maybe two courts for the whole community,
Mhm.
right? How many sports can you do that where the whole community gets involved with one 30 by 60 court?
60 court, yeah.
So yeah, so I think there's that, it has that going for it. I don't know. I've not seen, other than tennis, Padel was never a big player here anyway. I've never seen, yeah, so it's kind of hard to see because I've never really seen the decline of a sport other than tennis here in Vegas.
Yeah. And roughly, Miles, how much it costs to build a pickleball court?
So every court is definitely custom. It
Hmm.
depends on, people don't realize, a lot of people don't realize, you have a lot of options. What type, fencing, what type of concrete, what type of surface, lighting, what size is the court. And then of course it's a construction project, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not all courts, we don't just pull up and then, there's different grades and elevations that are
Hmm.
happening and going on, or landscape that needs to be removed. On a residential level, um, excuse me, a lot of times I would say typically between 40 and 60,000.
Hmm.
Sometimes on a commercial level, it can be more than that because, on a commercial court, a lot of times you do need to have like the chain link fencing and the security and maybe some of the additional bells and whistles. So,
Yeah.
we see those typically being a little bit more than just a residential court, but so it depends. I mean, I would say commercial can range depending upon what court. They can be 60 to 80, but
Hmm.
it really just depends.
Yeah. And is there, let's say, a particular surface where it's not expensive, but still, I mean, it gives you the performance, mainly for the little ones from a safety standpoint?
So do we have a surface for the safety side of it?
In terms of surface choices.
Yeah. So we definitely do all sport surfaces, and it really does depend on the player. I mean, whenever we meet with a potential client, it's all about them, right? Who's
Yeah.
playing on the court? What are the ages? What are you guys playing recreational, or are
Hmm.
you going to start playing tournaments and you're getting a coach and you're serious about it? So yes, if somebody's doing it right by the book of like American Sports Builders Association, then they're doing post tension concrete, which has like the 3/4 inch cables. So so yes, you have concrete that has cables running both directions. It has a lot of tension on those post tension cables to eliminate, to help with cracks. You can still get hairline cracks, but the most standard court that you'll see for pickleball, like on a commercial level or even like a pro level, like PPA, that's going to be post tension concrete with acrylic paint because people usually always start with that's what the pros play on, so that's what I should probably play on.
Yeah.
And I always joke, if everybody didn't think they were still going pro, we wouldn't have a business. It doesn't matter if you're 10 or 80. Everyone still thinks they're going to go pro. So yeah, a lot of times, we'll do post tension with acrylic, but we also have other surfaces too. We have a modular surface
Hmm.
where it's great, and I always say just because the pros play on it doesn't mean it's what you should play on. They're usually in their 20s or 30s, right? So we do have another surface that's a modular, almost like a tile system where, yeah, like the beauty of it is we've had it for over 50 years. If you fall on it, it's not abrasive. There's head impact. So like if
Hmm.
you fall, there's head impact. Uh, and what a lot of people don't think about is their joints, right? Post tension
Yeah.
concrete with paint it just beats your body. There's no forgiveness, no, even just the street out in front of my house, asphalt is better on their joints than concrete.
Than concrete.
So
Yeah.
that's the problem with concrete is just, yeah, like there's a lot of injuries in the sport. I mean, I think that's why my knee is like bone on bone, is because I spent my whole life as a kid playing on a concrete driveway court.
Mm.
So more and more people are wanting, um, like cushion courts, so, something that's easier on the knees, easier on the ankles, safety, like if kids crash and
Yeah.
burn, it's not abrasive.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so,
Mm.
but there's pros and cons to it, right? Some people
Yeah.
say, well, hey, it plays different. So if you're playing in a tournament, they want to play on the same stuff in their backyard.
In the backyard. Yeah.
So yeah. And then we do have one other surface. So you have like a modular tile surface that's great for kids, um, and even adults, right? If you're playing recreationally. And then you have concrete with paint. But then we also have another one that's concrete and then has a cushion with paint.
All
So,
right.
but it just depends on what you're doing on the court for sure.
And if you have to retrofit an indoor space, is it easier or is the same process as an outdoor?
It's not necessarily easier. The only thing, the only difference is on an indoor is you don't have to have the same type of like pitch or slope of the concrete
Hmm.
because you don't need to have the water,
Yeah,
rain or stuff like that drain off of the court. Uh, but yeah, there's really not, indoor is a harder venue to find. Just because you have to have the ceiling height, the structural beams. Like it's hard to find a building. There's a lot of people that want to build indoor pickleball here in Nevada, in Vegas, but there's just no buildings or warehouses that
right.
are logistically laid out to where they're,
Yeah, because
they're,
when it's hot and humid, it's not
yeah.
comfortable.
Well, and the cost, yeah, you have AC, you have parking, are the
Yeah.
neighbors going to like it? Like there's not a lot of tenants that when they hear the word pickleball that are super excited. And that is a issue. Like that's across the
Mm.
board. Whether it's a community you wanting to put it in your backyard or you're wanting to open up an indoor facility, people associate pickleball with noise. And
Aha.
there's definitely um, there's the pop of the paddle on the ball that you don't really get as much in other sports.
Yeah, yeah. But since it's booming and it's constantly into steady growth, yeah, maybe some real estates or maybe some malls will
Yeah.
will try to get pickleball. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Right. So you mentioned playing with your dad and your kids. What's that
Hmm.
like?
I mean, I love it. My dad he's so funny. When I go play with him, um, yeah, we just have a good time. I went and played with him about a month ago, and he's never met somebody he doesn't love. Like everybody he meets is his best friend. He'll say, "Hey, meet my best friend so and so." And so he's got his whole community up there in Utah, and they're all retired people. And I go and play with him, and he just it's just so fun. Like we joke and we laugh, and it's just a chance for us to be able to hang out and play. And it's cool to see like my dad plays and then I play and then even seeing my kids play, right? So my kids they see me going out there because I have the pickleball machine out there, or my friends come over and play, and my kids will just sit out there and they'll watch me play, or then after we get done playing, they want to hit the ball with dad. And even my daughter was saying the other day, I have to have a sport. I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to have a sport. And she's like, maybe it's pickleball. So, they want to do what dad does. And I just think for me, anytime I can just spend, for me, that's, you know, I, it's for me, it's all about the moments, right? It's making memories with the people that I love. And so whenever they want to do, especially when they want to do something that I love too, uh, you know, it's different for me. My daughter's 8 and she'll ask me to play Barbies. So we'll still play Barbies
Bless
together,
her.
but I get a little bit more excited, and I make it as fun as I can. It's a little bit easier and more natural when she says, "Dad, let's play pickleball. Let's go hit the ball." So yeah, I don't have to
Yeah,
fake it as much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you recall a game or a moment that reminded you why you love this work so much?
Um, yeah, I turned 50 on Super Bowl Sunday, this last Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and I remember, I wanted to have a party because I thought, hey, it's my 50th birthday, and why not uh, why not just mix two great things? We'll watch the Super Bowl, and then people can celebrate my birthday, and we'll have food. And I remember I called everybody, as many friends as I could think of, and everybody. I couldn't get a yes from anybody, and my wife was like, "Hey, I'm sorry," like, and I was starting to have a little self pity for myself, and I was like, you know what? I can't feel bad about this because my 50th birthday just happens to land on the biggest sporting event of the year, and I and she could tell though that I was really sad. I was sad about it because you don't always get to have a big
Yeah,
50th birthday.
Yeah.
And so I remember that weekend, I said, honey, just cancel, like we only had one or two people that said they may be able to come. I go, honey, just let's not cater food or let's not do any of that. We'll just be here with everybody. And then one of my really good friends, Zach, called me the night before my birthday and said, hey, do you want to go over to Chicken and Pickle? It's a big facility that our company built. It's really
All right.
fun. Just
Yeah.
has food and pickleball and everything. He goes, hey, do you want to come play with me? We're going to do a little round robin tournament. Want to come play with me? And I go, and it was the night before my birthday. I go, honey, can I go play? And she's like, well, of course. That's what makes you happy. Go play with
Mm-hmm.
Zach. And so I remember walking into Chicken and Pickle, and I was like, getting geared up, and I got to play well. And I walked into Chicken and Pickle, and there was like, I don't even know how many, so many of my friends, and they were all standing
Wow.
there, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, but I kind of had my own Dumb and Dumber moment because I looked up and I saw this banner and it just said Happy 50th birthday, right? And I remember thinking, this is before I looked down and I saw the people, and I remember thinking, man, some lucky guy is turning 50 just like me, and he's having a big, huge party here at Chicken and Pickle. And then I looked down and I realized it was my party because I was not expecting this surprise party. And so I think that was a moment for me where it was really cool because I kind of have a lot of fun with it. I call myself the king of pickleball because I not only build courts, but I
Mm.
play a lot of pickleball too. So everyone had on like a little t-shirt of me, with a crown on it and said
Wow.
happy 50th birthday, king of pickleball. And it was just a moment for me where it was just fun. I mean, there's nothing that I couldn't have, it's the best birthday I've ever had. It was all my friends with food and
Fantastic.
pickleball. And then I think also just there was that pride of the fact that our company was the one that actually built Chicken and Pickle too. So it kind of came full circle from the building to the on the family and friend side of it too. So it was the best birthday I've had. I was like blown away.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Why is youth engagement through pickleball so important to you?
I think the biggest thing is I look at my own kids where they're growing up differently than even how I grew up. Like we grew up playing sports from the day we came home from school or we're on our bikes. I mean, we literally came home when the street lights went off. And I think seeing not just my own kids, but just kids in general, where I feel like a lot of them have forgotten how to play and just how to like have fun and to be creative. And so I feel like, you know, that's the beauty of it. I mean, I see it with my own kids. Like there's so many kids, and at times my own where they're like on video games or they're on their iPads or they're on the, smartphones or, even with like weight or not getting physical exercise. And I see it with these kids. I even see it when I go to hire people for our company. You can tell the kids that they're more well-rounded when they get to play and have fun and socialize and interact and they put down all these electronics. So I think that's why it's really cool is because it's just, especially being a team sport, right? Like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's one thing to go out in your backyard and you shoot a few hoops, or you're alone and you shoot a few hoops. Like, I think it's because it's so easy. And we've even been giving back to the schools here locally in Nevada where we've been donating paint because it doesn't take much. Like all these schoolyards just have asphalt, just like they look like parking lots for their playgrounds at all these schools because they don't have a lot of money. So we've been donating paint and even like line machines. All we're doing is donating the paint and we're just striping 2-inch lines. So it's not something where you have to paint the whole entire court. You're painting 2-inch lines, you get a portable net out there, and then kids are playing. And it's so cool. Like it's well over 1,000 kids that are now playing pickleball in Nevada, and just multiple schools that are now playing pickleball and they're introduced to the sport. So yes, I think that's why I'm like super excited about it is just seeing kids interact and learning how to play and be part of a team and not being a difficult sport, so that's
Yeah.
why we've been giving back and getting it into more schools. And maybe it's a little selfish here because I think I want to see pickleball being, when my kids are in high school, being like, hey, do I want to play on the football team or basketball, or do I want to play on the pickleball team?
Pickleball, yeah,
So
yeah,
I do see it becoming a major sport. Like
yeah,
clubs are starting to happen. I do see it becoming one of the major sports in public schools.
mm,
So I just think it's the best, and it's so closely related to my childhood that when I hear like 10 kids running down the stairs from my gaming room, because we have a little video gaming room here at my house,
hmm,
on their own free will, the kids are running down the stairs and running onto the court, and they're playing pickleball
nice,
or other sports. Like, that's so good for their mental health,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that's huge.
And what would it take to get pickleball into school athletic programs nationwide in the US?
I think it's just that, not overthinking it. You're just taking a lot of these schools, a lot of these schools don't have a lot of budget. And I think that's the beauty of it is you don't need to have a big indoor, part, because most indoor parts of schools are already dedicated to like a gym or whatever. But just taking these underutilized spaces and just, even if you're
Yeah,
just doing what we've been doing, painting lines, and then you get a portable net. I mean, painting lines and getting a portable net, you're already playing. And
yeah,
so I think the more kids are introduced to it, the more the kids are talking about it, then the more the parents are playing. I think it's just exposure, because I really do feel like there's like two types of people in the world. People that are either played pickleball, or they they know someone who has played the sport, their grandma, their uncle, their aunt, their friend,
mm,
and I think it's just exposure. I think once the kids start talking about it, then they're playing, then the parents want to play. It's really, I feel like it's trying to tell people about like discovering ice cream and then telling other people about it. Like, it's like, you got to try this. And then and that's how it was for me. I'm like, that's a silly little sport, And then I tried it and I'm like, whoa, this is like a lot of fun. And wow, like I really want to win now and like, and hang out with my friends. And, so I think yeah, I think it's literally just exposure.
yeah,
So
yeah. As well, within the school, not every kids can be selected to be on the football team or baseball, or and pickleball is the best. I will not say solution, but the best platform for
yeah,
all those kids to be active, to feel this sense of belonging, and be part of a team. And pickleball is a no-brainer. You
yeah,
described earlier all the benefits, the easiness, and it doesn't cost a fortune actually to
yeah.
build a pickleball court. It's absolutely a no-brainer at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. We see people all the time, like at a park, right? You got the parents and the kids, like,
Hmm.
you know, yeah. So it's something where it's definitely a family affair, or, the community gets together, and it's just wild. I see it like every day, like people saying, "Oh, I tried it, and wow, that was a lot of fun." And, it's easy to get hooked on it.
Yeah, yeah. We do a lot of on the side. We do a lot of corporate events, or try to come up with the new ideas, new options for companies to do kind of a team building and things like. And believe it or not, we are suggesting pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's easy, it's fun, the rules are simple, it's not complicated. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
And
see
how?
it a lot for corporations. Like, Amazon came into town, and they did a big Amazon event. And what's the beauty of it is we can take a parking lot and turn it into like 10 courts.
Mm,
So yeah, these spaces, more and more people. I mean, everything from the casinos to like an RV park. Like, I mean, we're seeing it everywhere. And I think even from a business standpoint, people are seeing, it's like the movie, I can't remember the movie, but if you build it, they will come. And,
yeah.
and, the baseball movie, it's so true. People come from everywhere when you build it.
Yeah.
So I think people are seeing also the revenue side of it and the foot traffic that comes from it.
Mm. Where you are in Las Vegas, I know it's filled with events, from sporting events to trade shows and I see like when there is a major event in a host venue or a big city, people they always look for side events, and pickleball is one of the. And talking about major events in Las Vegas, soon there is the Formula One Grand Prix. So I think,
Yeah.
Miles, you have a mission to to get pickleball with the Formula One teams
Well,
as a
it's
side event,
interesting
as
that
a fun event.
well, it's interesting you bring it up because in other cities where they've raced, they've actually had pickleball courts out at their venue. And
Aha!
we have engaged actually with Formula One. We did a little test court out there, even just
Wow.
earlier this year. So yes, everybody is seeing. Yeah, it's not limited to any particular platform or venue.
Good. You mentioned surviving. This topic is not easy, but we spoke about it earlier. I would like to get your take. You mentioned surviving colon cancer. How did that experience shift your approach to life and business?
For me, I've always been very like motivated, and especially in business, like I've always been very driven, right? Even with the company that I have today, like I take a lot of pride in the fact that I built it from my own sweat equity, and nobody gave me a handout to start this company. And so I think when I was, I started the company when I was 30 years old, and it was 40 I was 40 when I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And I think it was the first time that I really stopped and took a hard long look at life. For me, I think it's this idea that for me that we're just going to be around forever, right? And just kind of seeing my own mortality. And I think for me it got me to maybe off the treadmill a little bit of life, to where I got to
Hmm.
sit kind of to look around and see what's really important for me. And through that experience for me, thankfully I'm cancer free now. I think the biggest thing for me that came through that though was, for me, I realized that the only things that really truly matter to me in my life are the relationships, the memories and the moments that I have with like the people that I love, like my family and my friends, and just the impact that we have on other people for good, right? Like I realize that like between God and family and friends, and there's everything else is really trivial. I remember hearing people complain about this, or they're worried about that. And they say that when you have a health problem, you go from having 1,000 problems to only one. And so I think for me, it was really, as hard as it was, my wife was 7 months pregnant with our fourth child at the time. And, I remember waking up in the hospital. I had a full colectomy, like removal of my colon. And I remember waking up in the hospital, and, I felt that I think that's the most helpless that I've ever felt in my whole life. My
Mm.
wife's in the corner of the room, like 7 months pregnant, like on a cot. And I wake up, with, tubes coming out of every part of my body, and just in excruciating pain. Um, and that's when I like really, is basically kind of just feeling like I had a second, like you hear other people talk about it, like I got a second chance at life, for me. And so, yeah, it made me fall in love with even more. I feel like I was going through a midlife crisis even when I went through all the health stuff. Is I think we went on more vacations when we had no financial reason doing it in the first place, on credit cards. And even though I really felt it financially, because at the time, even going through the cancer, like my health scare, like I was kind of a one man band in my business.
Mm.
And but I took more trips, and I bought more things than I ever did, because for me, it's all about making memories, and
Yeah.
connecting with people that you love. And yeah, so it changed. And so for me, it made me love what we do even more. Like I mean, I have the coolest, uh, I feel like I get to do the coolest thing on the planet. Like I get to create spaces for families and friends to hang out. And I mean, I get so excited about, like, we live in such a fast paced world that
We
when you
do.
see people stop and pause and play and hang out and do all these things, like even just doing it with my own family, I'm like, yeah, it caused me to look around a lot more. And yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
I'm very grateful to be here and I just want to have impact on other, my own kids and people around me. So,
Would you mind, Miles, sharing your relationship with God since you mentioned that and your faith during that period, that tough period?
yeah. Um, it's interesting because, as helpless as it felt, uh, I here it was like it was the craziest year of all years. Like it was my 40th birthday, and it was right after my birthday. Found out that I had colon cancer, did the full colectomy, and I had multiple surgeries that year. And then it's interesting because even that same year, we had just bought a new home and we had gutted the whole house, and we had made everything new in the house again. And I remember this was right after I got out of the hospital, and I was just skin and bones. I had lost a ton of weight. I was,
Right.
had a ileostomy bag on my hip that my wife was helping me with. And I remember waking up and I heard Beckham, my 5-year old, I think he was 5 at the time, he was crying, and I went down the hallway, and I remember, like, I went to step outside of his bedroom door and I just stepped into all this water, and water went like everywhere.
Mhm.
And I opened the door and my son Beckham was on the floor, and he was just like pruned out like a little raisin, like he was laying on the floor in water. And I look over and the toilet was flooding. Like I think my son had put a train track in the toilet. And so wake up my wife Ashley, we run downstairs, and it's like raining
Yeah.
downstairs. Our brand new home, we had just spent all this money on this home, and my neighbor ran over and we're wiping up all the towels and everything, and we're wiping up the whole house. And he looked at me and he says, "Miles, why are you not swearing? Why are you not so mad? Like, I mean, all this is happening for you." And I looked at him and I just said, I just remember saying, "It's just sheetrock and paint." I said, none of this matters to me. Right. And then even later that year, I went to another surgery, and it was literally New Year's Eve night. I'm walking out of the hospital with Ashley, same year. And I had just moved into a new business, a new office space. And I get a call at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, and it was an out of state number. And I thought, oh, this must be somebody that's here for New Year's Eve. They're maybe drunk and they're
Mhm.
on the strip and they're pocket dialing me. I pick up the phone and they're like, "Miles, this is your landlord. Your office is flooding." So I went to my office. This is like midnight. We're standing in my office, and we hadn't even moved in yet, and the computers were on the floor. Everything's on the floor.
Oi.
So now I'm standing here, and now my office toilet had flooded, and it was flooding into all the units next to me. And I just remember, my dad was like, "Man, be careful." He's like, if you walk, oh, you might walk next to a building and a boulder's going to fall off and hit you. He's like, "This has been your year of years." I guess I just think though, I mean, going back, I know that's a lot of information, but I think going back to my relationship with God, like I remember on one particular, I was meeting with my oncologist, and he didn't know that I had a surgery, but he was always very cool and calm, and he was looking at me because I would do all these PET scans, right? And I got very nervous every time I went in for one of these PET scans. And I remember he's looking at the PET scan, looking at me, looking at the PET scan, looking at me, and he said to me, he goes, "Miles, like we got to rush you out of state for like emergency surgery. Like your PET scan lit up everywhere." And I remember this is kind of how I would sum up my view with God and like my relationship with him. And even when I was going through all of this, was I leaned over to my wife Ashley and I just said, "I know that Heavenly Father's aware of us." And so for me, like that's at the core of it. Like even though that was the hardest year of my life, like seeing, the floods and the moving and the surgery, I just have a very strong belief that Heavenly Father, like that God is aware of me and is aware of my family, and that I trust Him and I trust, His plan for me. And so that's was always, and then I found out, then I said, "Hey, I had surgery," to my oncologist, and he goes, "Oh, never mind, you're fine then. That's why it lit up." And I'm like, but I think that's like, I've never felt more calm and more at peace. And even just that's the closest I probably felt with my wife, with my kids, because when you strip away everything, you know, that's what was left for me, is just that I trust God in the sense that He's got a plan for me. And I know that I came out of that, all of that. I know that I'm a better person even going through that, that there's good things that come out of bad things. I feel like I have more empathy for people. Yeah. So I think God was wanting me to kind of step back a little bit, and that life's more than just business.
Wow.
That
Thanks for
may have
sharing.
been my longest answer for you so far.
No,
But
it's
that's a big.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I believe what you went through, mainly the sufferings, the only thing that kept you going and gave you hope is basically your relationship with God. It's your faith.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
yeah.
Yeah. What does the ideal pickleball community look like to you?
The ideal pickleball community.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I think it's just really what I see with all these communities. I mean, it's just people being inclusive. It's all ages, all skill levels, like people just having fun. Like,
Hmm.
I think that it naturally, organically creates itself, because it's that whole thing of once you have it there and people start coming out and playing and they are enjoying themselves. So I just think it's got to be something that's centrally located. It's got to be something where you have enough courts to play. That's the only downside, is sometimes there's not enough courts to play on.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I think it also is, it's different for everyone. For me, I want to get better. Anything I do, I want to get better. I want to improve. Everyone always says, "Oh, it's just for fun." I'm like, it's fun, but I really want to win too, and I want to get better, right? So
Yeah.
there's different venues for different people. So I like to go to a place where I can play. Because if you're the weakest, if you're it's like the weakest link on the court. If you're the weakest player on the court, they're gonna go after you, right? At least
Yeah.
if you're playing competitively. So I guess for me, the ultimate venue is when I'm playing with other people that are at a similar skill level as me, and that we're having very competitive, not something that's not too lopsided type of games. But then there's also venues here in Vegas where, it's like chicken and pickle. People just want to go and have a drink and have food and hang out and laugh and not take it so serious. So really, I think it depends on the player. For me, I want to play competitively and I want to get better. So
Yeah. Yeah. Miles, what legacy do you hope to leave in this space?
I would say the biggest legacy for me would just be that I helped create spaces where people had a chance to feel connection and love and make memories. Right. I think that's the biggest thing, is just, and also that when people think about me and my team, um, that they went with us because for a few reasons, that they knew that the project was, that we hold ourselves to a very high standard, that it's going to be built right, that it's going to last, and also that when you think of our company, that you have, that we have a relationship, that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that we're going to be around to take care of the court, and that we're going to do the right thing. Like, that's a big thing, that if we say we're going to do something, that we're going to do it. Like, so I think, there's the business side of it, but I think on the legacy side of it is just that that my team and I were able to create so many fun and cool spaces where, yeah, where people have made memories that they'll
Mhm.
never forget.
Yeah. And tell me, Miles, can pickleball go Olympic?
Yes, there's already talks about it. Yeah, there's already buzz about it. I don't know which year, but there's
Yeah.
already a buzz around it that it's going to go into the Olympics.
That would be
So
fantastic.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I always joke that we wouldn't. It's funny. I always joke around with people about this, that we wouldn't have if everybody didn't think they were going to go pro or go to the Olympics, then we wouldn't have a company. So it's, it's a lot of fun. I mean, my goal, I just turned, with me turning 50, I get to be in I think they even call it the senior citizen division of pickleball, right? Like there's the 50 and over division. Because some of these young people, they get to every ball, so there's not a ball you hit that they can't get to. So it will help, that now I get to play in the 50 and older. Well, they don't call it senior citizen, the seniors
The
division,
seniors,
right?
here we
So
go.
the seniors division. So, but don't mistake it. There's lots of people, even a lot older than me, that they're ringers. They know it's like a game of chess. They know where you're hitting it before you even hit it. So it's strategy. I'm
Yeah,
excited though. That's kind of my next goal is I really want to get to where I can win like a 5-0 tournament in the
all
that's
right.
technically that's technically like pro in the 50 seniors division. So, but it's something to shoot for. I want to work at it. I want to get better and better. So,
Yeah, yeah, great. You are listening to the Pre-Zero Sports Talk. For more conversations on sports leadership, faith, performance, and innovation from Sweden to the world, visit prezerosportstalk.com. Now it's time for our lightning round.
okay.
Dream court to play on.
Oh, I would say just me being with, I got to have at least two courts, but just playing, actually in my own private yard, but it's called King of the Court, where I can have two courts and you just play with your friends and you just work your way up. And then if you're the king of the court, you keep winning and you stay at the king of the court. The dream court to play on is for me is just with my own family and friends,
Yeah.
where we can be playing competitively and just doing it in my own backyard with like food and music. Yeah, actually, as I'm thinking about this, I already have it. It's in my own backyard. I tell my wife all the time, honey, thank you for making my dreams come true because that's why we moved to this house is so I can put a court in my own backyard. So I already have it. It's my court.
Yeah, and it's a popular
Yeah.
one since the entire school comes to to your place.
Well, yeah. In fact, one of the best compliment I ever get is my friends will say, "This is the best pickleball court I've ever played on," and I tell them,
There we
"Well,
go.
I've done this for 20 years. Hopefully I know what I'm doing." So yeah. So my dream court is my dream court that I already have.
Fantastic. Your go-to snack after a game.
Oh man, I usually go out to eat after. Uh, there's not really a snack. I usually go to Taco Bell after I eat, and then I stay up way too late watching Sports Center.
One ritual you can't live without.
Uh, just doing my morning gratitude.
Hmm.
Yeah. And focusing
Nice,
on all of the amazing things that I have in my life.
nice. Favorite sport outside pickleball?
Oh, it would be, yeah, it would have to be basketball. I grew up playing basketball, so that's definitely
Hmm.
my secondary sport,
Yeah.
and I can
Top
still
travel.
beat my son. So,
Good. Top travel destination on your bucket list.
hmm, I've never been one much huge traveler. Maybe Costa
Hmm.
Rica. Yeah.
Morning person or a night owl?
Oh, I'm both, but I love being up. Yeah, more of a night owl than
Early.
anything.
Ah, night
But
owl.
then I
Good.
do wake up early too, so that doesn't add up
Mm.
very well. But definitely a night owl.
Coffee, tea, or something else?
Well, something else. Just having a Coca Cola.
Best way to unwind after a long day or a long week?
I would say first is pickleball, and then second is just watching TV after my kids all go to bed. That I can just kind of unwind watching Sports Center.
Fantastic. And lastly, one piece of advice or wisdom to our listeners on any topic.
Uh, you become who you hang out with. The five people that you spend most of your time with on a daily basis is exactly where you're going. How they think, how they talk, how they act, everything about those five people that you spend the most time with is who you will become. So be careful be very intentional with who is in your inner circle.
Miles Reynolds, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
Thank you. And for our listeners, I leave you with a few words from Michael Phelps. You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you go. We want to thank you for joining our show. If you enjoyed this episode, we have more for you. You can now watch the entire episode on our YouTube and Spotify channels. While you're here, subscribe and don't forget to tap the bell. Visit prezerosportstalk.com to explore more conversations on sports, leadership, faith, performance, and innovation. From Sweden to the world. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and make a difference. We'll see you soon. Take care.